This is Group 3, and we are covering the types of court, and later on we'll be covering the verdict. There are three types of court. You have your state, your federal, and the administrative proceedings. In state court, it can hear most types of cases. It's typically something such as small claims. Federal court is very limited to civil cases. There's only three real situations, and that would be if a federal law comes into question, if the parties involved are from different states and there is $75,000 or more at stake, and if the USA is a party in the lawsuit. Criminal cases, the federal court gets that if any federal law is broken by the criminal. And the federal courts also are initially heard in front of a federal district court, and within that there's also specialized federal courts such as bankruptcy. For administrative proceedings, those are usually solved outside of court by government agencies, and that includes the Workers' Compensation Board, welfare, and Social Security benefits. This exists at both levels, state and federal, and if you lose, you can actually seek review in court.
Next, we're going to be discussing the verdict in these type of courts. Under the verdict, we'll be discussing the judge, the juror, criminal cases, and civil cases. The judge will give out the verdict if no jury is present, so usually just small cases. The jury's decision is made based off of the evidence in court, which is very important. They may ask to clarify law, see the evidence, and/or have the transcripts of testimonies read again so that they can make their verdict. They do not have a time limit, and it must be a unanimous decision. If for whatever reason it's not unanimous, the whole jury can be retired, and a new jury will be presented.
Criminal cases, there's three decisions. Obviously guilty and not guilty, as well as not guilty by reasons of insanity. If it's not guilty, the defendant cannot be charged or criminally punished for that alleged crime. This does not mean that the judge or jury believes them to be innocent. It just means that the government could not prove beyond reasonable doubt that the defendant committed the crime. They cannot be retried for the same crime. This is double jeopardy and is protected by the Fifth Amendment. However, if they can be retried if it's in a different type of court, such as if the defendant was tried in a state court, they could be tried in a federal court. All right, not guilty by reasons of insanity. This basically means that the defendant was unable to understand the difference between right and wrong, and their punishment is usually, well, not really punishment, but they are usually just sent to an insane asylum or seek treatment from a professional. And then there's guilty. There's different types of punishments for being guilty. The most popular one is prison. There's also probation, paying a fine. Usually the judge decides the punishment, unless there's a jury. They can decide whether to impose the death penalty, which is really rare. Civil cases are pretty simple. They are kind of decided outside of court. You basically decide whether the defendant is liable for damage. There's two types. Either you pay off the costs for the lost damages, or you pay a fine on top of the damages as well. This is our PowerPoint slide. If there's any questions, feel free to send us a message. Thank you.